Hello humanoids, welcome to Halfling Hobbies. I'm Halfling Hannah, and today we're going to talk about money, specifically starting gold in your D&D adventure and what your players should get versus what I think they should get. So let's talk about money. Here we go. Alright humanoids, let's talk about money. If you are looking to start a new campaign when your players are creating their characters, they're going to have some options for money. The player's handbook gives us two options. The first of which is that your players take a background and the background specifies what starting equipment and gold they receive. However, you can do away with this and instead do a roll for gold. There's also a handy little chart in the player's handbook under chapter 5, equipment, that is on page 143, that says what each class should get as far as starting gold goes. Each class rolls a certain number of d4s, based very arbitrarily on what this book thinks that each class should get, plus 10, and they can then use that starting money to buy the equipment that they want. However, the book also says that perhaps you steal your equipment or it's handed down to you, or your guild or whatever gives it to you. So really it's just give them starting equipment and then give them this amount of gold, which can be a large amount of gold if we're being honest, if you don't have to actually purchase anything. Even 10 to 15 gold pieces, which is what most of the backgrounds give your players, is a lot of money if they are just roaming around the countryside and coming to small villages and such, where a night stay at the inn plus food and drink would only be a silver piece or so. They're basically rolling in it at level 1, and I personally don't think that that's right. So here is my suggestion that maybe you try, and obviously this doesn't work in every situation. It's just an idea. Why not make your players broke? That's right, absolutely 100% broke. 0 gold, maybe a copper piece or two, and that's it. Now, why in the world would I suggest this? It's because being broke is very motivating. Anyone in real life ever been absolutely 100% broke and you went, I think I need to make some changes in my life? That is what being broke does. Hunger is a motivator, and it will get your players to do things that maybe they wouldn't do otherwise if they had a little change in their pocket. And here are some suggestions and ideas for ways that your PCs can make money at a low level when they are absolutely broke. Number 1, escort goods and people. This is just a little guard job that higher level adventurers aren't going to want to do, and usually it's not going to be all that dangerous. And it's not going to pay all that much. There'll be a large group, usually if there's something super important, there'll be a large group of people. If it's just a person or something more mundane, maybe just 1 or 2 people on that. But they can do that escort mission and make just a little bit of money to make it through the day. Along these same lines is bodyguard missions or security. Security detail is one of those things you just need a little bit of training for, and a level 1 fighter or barbarian would do great. So these low-level players would still be very useful as bodyguards, make a little extra money on the side. Another job option that is perfect for low-level players looking to make a little bit of money, however small it might be, is day labor. This is things like harvesting out in the fields or the orchards. Mining could be a great example, or building something, carrying large slabs of stone back and forth to a work site. All of these are not going to pay very much. Adventurers are not going to be interested in it, but if your players are absolutely dead broke and they need money just to stay the night at the inn, they're going to be willing to do whatever it is that they need to do. Another great one is to use the tool proficiencies. We talk about this a lot. I love tools and I don't think we use them enough. I've done several videos over them. Look at your players' tool proficiencies and maybe they can make a little bit of money doing what they're trained to do. So So why does this matter? Why would you make them broke and then give them all these low-level jobs that they could do to make some money? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, adventuring and making it as an adventurer should be difficult. It shouldn't just fall into their lap. They have no experience in the real world, and it is unlikely that anyone is going to be willing to give them an important job or quest right out the gate. And they need to realize that. They need to kind of suffer isn't the right word, but it's a pretty good word for this. They need to experience what it is like at the bottom so that they can appreciate when they get to those big level quests, when they get to be famous later on. Otherwise, it simply won't have the same impact. Number two, these are incredibly great ways to introduce your main plot line right out of the gate. Before we get into that, we have a quick word from our sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by my cat. She's all out of cat food and was really hoping that you could like and subscribe to Halfling Hobbies so that I can go and buy some more. For example, if while your players are tearing down an old building on the edge of town for a little bit of money, perhaps they encounter a ghost who tells them that they were murdered by one of the political officials of the town. And this kind of starts your political intrigue that your players start investigating. Or perhaps while they're out in the orchard harvesting for their day laborer job, there's a monster that comes and they defeat it and suddenly become the heroes of this town and get more high-level quests in the process. Also, this is a great way for your players to start making connections and allies, another thing that we overlook a lot. Friday's video is going to be how to have fun with allies and organizations, so don't miss out on that if you're looking to incorporate those more. These small quests like this are a great way to build up those NPC alliances that perhaps your players can call on later when they need some help. Overall, stripping money away from your players, especially at level 1, is an excellent way to build their character. Literally, from the ground up. And if you just flood your players with cash right from the start, you're missing out on some really awesome opportunities for both roleplay and character growth. And I highly suggest maybe you make your characters broke in your next campaign. I hope this gives your game advantage, and until next time, my friends, this is Halfling Hannah, signing out. Big shout out to my patrons who helped me think through these ideas and gave me some incredible suggestions. You all are wonderful. I love chatting with you about everything D&D. And if you would like to start chatting as well, then make sure you join Patreon. Bye. Or a wizard that has just a few cantrips. Can you do that elsewhere, please, ma'am? You good? Are you mad that I used you in the sponsors? Is that what's happening right now? Okay.